Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, well, happy Thursday, everybody. Here we go, trying to close out the work week. Of course, yesterday we had the opportunity of a little severe weather in the area. We did have some severe weather materialize down in our southeastern counties, a warning or two, but again, really for this time of year, nothing too significant. So now as we look forward in time, looking and trying to hone in on the weekend, we are going to have one more North Texas weather speed bump to get through tomorrow, Friday. Before we get to the weekend, we are tracking this windstorm moving in and really this extreme to critical fire danger. We're going to talk about that over the next few minutes, but we will also need to talk about this Thursday. And very similar to yesterday, we're just going to call it very warm. In fact, we're talking about mid-upper 80s for daytime highs, lots of bright sunshine. But again, today's relatively quiet as far as the weather goes. No real complications as we, roll through the afternoon. Again, just kind of looking at radar around the region, relatively quiet as well. In fact, you have to look all the way over towards Mississippi to find any kind of active precipitation. But for us locally, it's all about what is now developing out on the West Coast. Big deep storm trough here, active weather on the West Coast. And again, as this piece of energy, this upper level storm system does begin to move out, again, for us tomorrow, this time of year, we're typically talking about rainstorms, severe weather. Locally, we're not talking about any of that. We are just talking about very significant wind. Take a look at this here. This is the upper level storm system coming out, and it's really truly all about this jet stream flow coming around it. This is a very enhanced jet stream. Luckily for us, the trajectory of this storm system, as it really begins to pop out, it moves more off to the northeast. And again, that is truly for tomorrow where the risk of severe weather is going to be. But again, for us here, we're mainly just talking about wind. And again, because of that, this is a pretty rare, for North Texas, pretty rare high wind watch. You don't see these very often, but this means we could potentially have some wind gusts 50 to maybe even over 60 miles per hour around the area. Notice it does include the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Because of that, again, with what we call all the winter kill, right, all the dry vegetation, we have not truly begun the spring green up, so to speak, right? Fire danger is going to be, again, critical to extreme around the area, a little more enhanced off to the northwest. But again, regardless, all across our area, again, fire danger is going to be a very big concern as we go through tomorrow, Friday. Just sampled the opportunity of a few peak wind gusts as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Again, you can see more than likely the breeziest, if you will, conditions, the windiest conditions are going to be in our western counties. But again, from the Metroplex out to the west, again, 40, 50, again, even 60 mile per hour wind gusts, simply put, are not out of the question. And again, you can see the further off to the east you get, it's still going to be windy there, yes. But again, the opportunity of some peak wind gusts, maybe just a little bit lower, again, in our eastern counties. This is worth mentioning as well. Again, for tomorrow, we essentially have no real opportunity of precipitation locally, but again, as that storm system does begin to eject out, again, especially through parts of the heartland, that is a very significant severe weather zone. In fact, you see that kind of pale gray, pale purple showing up, and that would be outbreak criteria setting up. And again, big long track tornadoes, violent tornadoes, in fact, not impossible, again, in that direction. So again, it's a swing and a miss locally for us, but again, luckily, we'll just be dealing with wind, and again, we won't necessarily be dealing with any of that. So at least as we go through the day today, again, generally 80s, maybe even a few locations in our western counties may try and push towards 90 this afternoon, so temperatures well above normal. This would be your Thursday evening. And again, temperatures basically from the 80s down into the 70s, so very warm, but again, a quiet evening. And then we will call it comfortably cool overnight, with most of us only dipping down into the 60s. In fact, a lot of lower to mid 60s around the area. And then tomorrow, it's all about the wind. Temperatures come down just a notch, generally 70s, 80s, still above normal. But again, the big piece of tomorrow, the big takeaway from tomorrow, again, it is going to be all about the wind. So again, we're tracking the windstorm on Friday, but after that, as we look ahead to the weekend really looking good with high temperatures in the 70s. Pretty stable forecast going forward in time, maybe a lower end opportunity of some rain and storms by the middle part of next week. But again, otherwise, for this time of year, that's a pretty good looking 12-day.